Welcome to the Keiser Report. I'm Max Keiser. What to do about Blair, Bush, and Bono? The killer bees, financial extremists. Let's start with Tony Blair, shall we? Okay, let's talk about Tony Blair for a second. Jack Straw, his advisor, advised him against the Iraq invasion. There was no justification for the Iraq invasion. Then you had the dodgy dossier mess over there in the UK approved that the invasion was planned months in advance, regardless of any UN resolution. Blair's own legal team advised him that the invasion was illegal. Now, Tony Blair, he's a consultant to J.P. Morgan, a financial terrorist, not to be confused with a financial extremist. Blair's over there at J.P. Morgan in the role as consultant, negotiating huge oil deals. He used his entire premiership, now they're at No.10 Downing Street at the UK, as a way to grease his resume so that he could end up working on Wall Street, making huge oil deals. Okay, now it's time for the Max question. So the question is, what is the suitable penalty for Tony Blair? Well, if you consider that up to 1 million Iraqi civilians were killed as a result of his actions, according to the Lancet report, and then if you apply the Nuremberg War Tribunal standards, then clearly an adequate penalty for Blair would be death by hanging, which I'd love to see on YouTube. And I could play that with the Saddam, Blair, kind of play it back and forth in stereo hangings. I think that would be an appropriate penalty for Tony Blair. Next time, I'm going to be talking about appropriate penalties for financial extremist Bush and Bono, lead singer of U2. But first, now, let's get some political analysis from Stacey Herbert. Stacey, hello.
Max, actually, over 20% of the UK population in a recent poll think that Tony Blair should be tried for war crimes. But I want to mention Bono because you did bring him up. He's going to Haiti to sponsor some sort of a charity tour for the people of Haiti. But this first headline really shows you all that is wrong with the world. Cruise ship docks at private beach in Haiti for barbecue and water sports. Just a couple hundred yards from the utter devastation of the tens of thousands of bodies lying piled up in the center of Port-au-Prince. Royal Caribbean parked there one of these cruise ships, and the people went to the beach and were swimming on the beach, surrounded by armed security and 12-foot fences to keep them from the population of Haiti.
Well, it's a perfect metaphor for the global economy, isn't it? The financial terrorists on Wall Street in the City of London have engineered a massive wealth transference from the millions and hundreds of millions and billions to their Christmas bonus season. Included in that is all the money that was taken out of Haiti over the years. Of course, we know the story there. And when this earthquake hit, of course, so much of the ecological infrastructure had been wasted away, and the tragedy was compounded in a way that is just incalculable. And now you've got these elites. I presume some of the Goldman Sachs bankers were probably on the cruise ship, roasting some weenies and watching the devastation that they themselves were in part responsible for.
Well, I think it also shows that we're in revolutionary times, that it's this notion of let them eat cake it has infected everybody, not just the elites, not just Goldman Sachs, but the middle class, the upper middle class, anybody who has any access to credit remaining. Right. Now, the next headline.
Oh, by the way, before we get into the next headline, let me just point something out. I noticed that on Twitter, I've got twice the followers that you have on Twitter. Max Keiser on Twitter has got twice the followers as Stacey Herbert on Twitter. What do you think about that, Stacey Herbert? What does it say about the state of the Keiser report?
Well, I think there will be a revolution going on between us soon, at least a civil war. But that brings me to the next headline. Barack Obama unveils a $90 billion Wall Street crisis levy. Now, they're calling this the Financial Crisis Responsibility Fee, and he's levying a fee onto the 50 biggest banks, including 15 foreign ones, and over 10 years, he's expecting to raise $90 billion.
Ooh, $90 billion over 10 years. Look, did Exxon ever pay for Exxon Valdez? No. Did the tobacco companies are negotiating now not having to pay any of the penalties that they paid? That's right. Is Wall Street going to have to pay any of the penalties at this fakakta $90 billion chump change, stupid penalty? Look, Barack Obama should understand that you negotiate with somebody before the deal, not after. When Hank Paulson was in front of Congress extorting $700 billion from the American taxpayer, that's when Barack Obama should have stepped in, or somebody should have stepped in and said, wait a minute, there has to be some strings attached. You just can't rape America for $700 billion, which became $11 trillion, and expect no accountability. But that's exactly what happened. Now he's saying it a year later that he wants some accountability. Well, the guy, they should change his name to Barack Bonehead. Barack Bonehead.
Well, it's $90 billion over 10 years, so $9 billion a year. Now, to put this into context, you have to look at the next headline I have. Banker bonuses will be record $145 billion this year.
In 1 year.
In 1 year.
Right.
Just the top four banks, the too big to fail, are collecting $100 billion.
So that $90 billion over 10 years, the bankers are paying themselves over $1 trillion.
That's right.
Almost $1.5 trillion.
Well, many of the banks are actually paying themselves more in bonus than they actually earned in revenue. Now, in this article, talking about banker bonuses being a record $145 billion, a corporate lawyer is quoted defending the practice. And he says, quote, "You can't just say there is a lot of populist anger out there, so we are not going to compensate our executives who worked hard to recover shareholder value."
Yeah, what's populist anger? Well, you could ask the French back there during the French Revolution, or the Americans during the American Revolution, or how about the Icelandic people during the Icelandic Revolution right now against their financial terrorist banking oligarchs in London. The populist uprise, of course. Uprise!
Well, it also goes with that whole revolutionary time I was telling you about in the beginning, where you have these people on the Royal Caribbean cruise line, enjoying cocktails while tens of thousands of bodies are piled up in one location.
Right.
But here's this guy who is sounding like Marie Antoinette, the very last words she had as well, of like, we can't just alter our lifestyles. We can't stop our parties just because of the populist anger outside.
Who's this bonehead again?
It's an unnamed corporate lawyer.
Unnamed corporate lawyer. Let's find out who that... Go to WikiLeaks or someplace. Find out who this guy is.
So next, I have a little video of Barack Obama and his response to not only this banker bonus issue, but the fact that these bankers are now lobbying against the levy, the financial crisis responsibility levy.
The very same firms reaping billions of dollars in profits and reportedly handing out more money in bonuses and compensation than ever before in history are now pleading poverty. It's a sight to see.
So another moment. It's a sight to see, he says.
Oh, Barack Obama.
That's right. You
He
just
says,
watched it.
It's a sight to see. This guy is like at the global financial terrorist petting zoo. He's just like petting the terrorists on Wall Street in the city of London. And saying, aren't you cute and furry and cuddly? What is up with this guy? He's got to be the most ineffective president America's ever had. He's an empty suit.
Well, Max, no president, it doesn't matter if it was John McCain and his tough guy image, no president is going to be allowed to alter the fact that their paymaster is the bankers. They can't go around it. Nobody can. So this is all he can say. This is all he is allowed to say. It wouldn't matter if it was John McCain or Sarah Palin or Joe Biden.
Right.
They're going to have to say it's a sight to see, and we're not going to be able to do anything else about it. Now, let's go to the next little video I